Hello, hello, hello. I'm still trying to work out the timing on the live thing. It seems to backpedal. But anyway, hello to my daily journal for this year. So I got to see a Hans Zimmer concert Friday night. My close friend Melissa got back to me and said, "Hey, let's go to the Zimmer concert." So she had invited me like 3 months ago. She got a boyfriend, so I'm like, "Hey, I think she should. That's the kind of thing you should go to with your boyfriend rather than another guy." Um, but apparently they're not really boyfriend girlfriend. They're just kind of seeing each other. Um, but I really think that's the case that you should go with, even if you're just casually seeing each other. It's a really good date environment, right? Because you got music, you got some drinks, you're walking around the city. It's nice. Um, so anyway, hung out with her last night. Stopped by her place, bought some cake because I had some extra from this week. Took an Uber over, good Uber. Just kind of caught up on life, universe, and everything. Um, got drinks at the club. They have like this club thing at the music show thing. So we got a drink there. Expensive as hell. 16 $15 for each of our drinks respectively. Not cheap, but it is nice. We got to see the concert, which was a good concert. I'll cover that next. Actually, I'll cover that now. So Zimmer is a genius. That is true. He is worth most of what people say about him. I say most because I'm not even gonna make a deal out of it. It was a great concert. He's got a fantastic playlist. Some very clever stuff I haven't seen elsewhere. I think the highlight for me was apparently one of his musicians. mm, So if there's a sound they want to make that they don't know how to make with an existing instrument, he goes to Home Depot and buys PVC pipe, drills holes in it in order to create a new instrument, which is really, really cool. And there was a lead instrument from Armenia that's apparently used in everything. A lot of good vocalists and everything. Amazing, good, amazing electric guitarist. Really, really amazing electric guitarist. Um, Outside of the flutist and the like the Armenian flute thing and the electric guitarist and Zimmer, everybody else in the show was female, and it was noticeable. Nothing wrong with that. The way my dad put it, he's like, "Well, if you are gonna go around the country, wouldn't you rather go along with go around with women instead of men?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't know. It was noticeable, but you know what? I'm willing to forgive a little bit of wokeness if you do that good of a job." And it was an amazing show. Maybe, and I am picky with that kind of thing. Oh, I want to be represented. Okay, yeah, I bitch that about other people saying that kind of thing all the time. Um, no, what I would say is that Marylanders are trash because everybody got to the show and they had the opening like quiet song thing, and people were like fried chicken, beer. People were just taking their sweet ass time getting into the show, and like it wasn't like oh the first minute. It was like 10 minutes of people walking in way late. I mean, I'm sorry, get your fried chicken before you get there, okay? If you need it so badly. It was just the most trashy thing imaginable, and people who should have better class than that. Actually, in the second half of the concert, the guy, there were some people who came in the front, like 7 rows from the front, and they kind of got a talking to from Zimmer, which was fantastic. He was nice about it. He's a real gentleman, but he's like, "Oh my, go East Coast, and everybody is on time and punctual, and then they come here and it's not, and it's nice." But it was like, you guys are dicks. Learn to see a show before you go to it. And it was especially markedly annoying because I went to the GSO concert last weekend. A GSO concert, free concert. Everybody got there 5 minutes ahead of time in their seats, quiet, listening, waiting for the show to start. Everybody had their cell phones off and just listening to the show and enjoying it. That's the way you're supposed to see a concert. This concert, people were like, the entry aside, people making way too much noise getting in. And then also, like, taking pictures and stuff. It's just like, you're never going to actually see, like, look at the pictures. The only reason it is for is for social signaling. For the one time in the office, you go in and show somebody who does not want to see it that you went to a concert. Instead of just saying I went to a concert, you'd be like, "Oh, look, I took a picture." It's like, no, you're an idiot. You don't just enjoy the concert. Your memories work better if you don't do that. Anyway, great show overall. Male Wonders of Trash. Um, I think his best one was definitely Interstellar. And they had this Ukrainian woman who, like, Ukrainian gymnast, who was like on the whole ropes thing above everything. And I'm sorry, that's just always so cool. If there's the possibility of somebody getting gravely hurt, it always makes things more fun, especially during that time of the show. And of course, like, okay, Lion King's overrated as a soundtrack. I dare I said it. But some of the stuff he made is not overrated. It's actually quite good. So yeah, great concert. Shame about the audience. 9.5. So then afterwards, we took our time, took a picture together, and then walked across the city. Which one, it was cold, and I had like a stylish jacket. That's very fashionable, but it's quite light. So, and then so I was freezing, and I gotta say, I was a little bit scared. Like, you're walking around downtown Baltimore at 12:30 at night. You're a little bit cognizant of where you are. Of course, Melissa didn't care. She's just like, "Oh, this is good. I've done this before." And I'm like, "Yeah, but if something happens to you, if something happens to me, if something happens to us, I have to fight and you have to run." But I guess nothing like that's really ever happened to her. Oh, I hope my pine tree. I have a pine tree there, and I hope it didn't die. Um, hmm. It's kind of turning a bit brownish. Anyway, but I got it, and then we got back to. We finally caught an Uber, like halfway back, and went to Taco Bell. Well, and it was really, really weird at the Taco Bell. So we get Taco Bell like we usually do. Stand in the parking lot, just kind of hanging out, and then we noticed as we were driving in there that there was a million cars just lined up along the side of the road. It was crazy, and like more than 10, like 100, and they were just all lined up all along every edge. And we're like, "What's going on here?" So we in Taco Bell, and we see a cop car come up, and the cop car starts checking out the vehicles, shining a light inside them. Then more cop cars came. I think there's a grand total of 6 or 7 cop cars, each with 2 cops, um, in the area checking out the cars lined up. And we also saw like various couples or people, I guess, in general, just kind of going around the cops, just kind of leaving, and mostly couples actually, just a bunch of black couples. So we were kind of trying to figure out like what is going on here. And there's a couple of options. One, maybe it was like a rap thing, like a rap battle, maybe or something. Yeah, it's a little racist, but now you make guesses. Or maybe it's a rap battle or something, or maybe it's like they're selling stolen cars or something. That was my guess, with given the number of cars. Or maybe there's like a rave party, because, which is weird because I don't think of black people doing rave parties, but I guess they do, or dance parties. I don't know. I don't know. And it was like it's such a weird event. It's such a weird time of night with so many cops showing up. They didn't know what was going on. They were trying to figure it out too. And I don't know if they actually found an answer, because eventually we just kind of left because we were done our tires. And at that point, we were just watching cops go through cars. And I'm like, yeah, let's just go. And we went back, and I drove back home 1:30. Got home late night. I know. No, then today was just kind of a bit of a mess. I think I did my regular stuff. I went to the coffee shop. I played a little bit of video games. I got food. I went food shopping. The next thing I'm going to make is going to be I think it's going to be either cupcakes or vanilla. You know what? Probably cupcakes. They're easier. I think, well, or the cupcakes or the vanilla cake. Usually I hang out with Faith in these days because she's a bit. We hung out last weekend, and I kind of texted her a couple times, and we text back and forth because I'm like, well, if she wants to invite me over, I'll come over. But we're hanging over all day next Saturday for the Katsucon, so that should cover. I probably should have hung out with her today. I made a mistake. I should have done that. I was just really off. Like, all day. I see her once in a while. And I was gonna go get drinks tonight. Another option with Chris Bonk, but with another friend of mine. But he never responded to my texts. I think he has medical issues going on. To be honest, behind the scenes, I don't know anything, but it seems that way. But he all had. I think he drinks too much. To be honest, like I like drinking too, but I've never really overdone it. I'm always in the mix of trying to cut back. He drinks too much and he smokes cigars. He does a lot of things that are bad for him. More than you would expect. Anyway, all these occasional friends, like Faith, I love having Faith around because every 2 weeks we hang out, we watch anime, we play video games, we eat dinner. It's great. It's anything I could ever. Well, it's most of what I could want from a relationship with a woman. But it's a friendship, not a relationship. That said, if I got something extra, that would be appreciated. Um, and then Melissa, it's just like she just jumps into the well. She drops off the face of the earth for like 6 weeks, and then she's like, "Hey, concert." And I'm like, "Okay, sure," but like, I don't know how to deal with that. And then Chris Bond is the same way. He like comes in, comes out, and it's like, hmm. But I swear, like, Melissa, you can't just jump in because I get used to being by myself, and I'm like, I kind of get it. But then she jumps in, and kind of my mind is all chaotic. But whatever. Friendships are weird, especially with the opposite gender. But it's better to have them than not to have them. People are like, oh, men should just separate from the world or be by themselves in the middle of nowhere. It's like I have rarely met somebody with that level of introversion. Most people who think, oh, I'm introverted. I'm like, no, you're not. You are not introverted because most people I know who are introverts are actually surrounded by people most of the time. There are exceptions. I know a few introverts face an introvert. I honestly don't know any other true introverts because people like my dad is like, oh, I'm an introvert. I'm like, you've been surrounded by people for nonstop for the past 40 years, either with your wife or your family or your job. You are generally with people. Or my brother, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so lonely." I'm like, "Well, you are always surrounded by people at work. You are always in the center of things. You got a family and wife and everything." I don't think really people know. I think people want to pretend that they're introverted, and that's great, but you're not. You haven't actually experienced. Most self-identified introverts have never actually experienced being by themselves very often. And when they do so occasionally, they're like, "Oh, this is nice." It's like, yeah, it's a change from the norm for you. So of course it's nice. Um, all that said, women are weird. Women are very weird. But it is funny. If you handle them the right way, they stick around more than men. That sounds gay. Whatever. It's 2025, guys. Men, they either find relationships or they move or something. If you find the right female friend, they'll be around for a while. As long as you don't mess things up. Which I've learned not to do. So that means that I probably am a bit more deceptive with my intentions than I should be. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to be by myself totally, right? What else is going on? New class, MR job. It sucks. I don't like it. But this is the final real class I have to take. The rest of the stuff is just cybersecurity or whatever regular electives I want to do. Plus one big project, which I'll probably do next time I'm unemployed. Which is going to happen eventually. Yeah, nothing on politics today. Just going to remark that women are strange to have as friends, especially when you do date-like things together, but it's not a date. It's kind of just like, it's a thing. Anyway, that's about 15 minutes. Done with my venting. Closing remark. Understand your vices. Cheers.